सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om, may He protect us both. May we both enjoy together. May we both exert together. May our studies become brilliant. May we not become disputatious and hate each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Hari Om, everybody. Today is a very interesting topic. Whenever you look out into the world, you find that majority of them, if not all, are completely involved in the activities belonging to the world. Their whole life is dependent on what other people are giving, other people are doing, the external circumstances of the world. Since the external circumstances of the world never is the same, there is a continuous fluctuation going outside in the world from morning to evening. That's what the world is. It's in continuous flux. When I completely identify with whatever is happening outside, and my value systems have become such that it is completely dependent on the experiences what this personality, the body, mind and intellect, is interacting with the world. Such a personality is called an extroverted personality. An extroverted personality can talk. They are very good, extremely good talkers. And talkers, you may find them in the social circles. They are very good in all topics. So you talk any relating to politics, they are good at it. You related to money, they are good at it. Relating to assets, they are good at it. Relating to religion, they are good at it. Relating to spirituality, they are good at everything. They know how to communicate and talk to people. But their life itself will become a mess because they only talk. They don't feel anything. This is an extroverted. You see these people right, left and center everywhere. Many of us are that. Okay, we are talking, we are doing everything based on external experiences. Gibberish. Yes. What's happening in the news today? What is happening with the weather today? What is happening in this country, that country, corona? Whole life is based only on that. And whatever the feedback comes from the society, I feel exactly the same. In short, I don't have any control over my own personality. Like a small child. We are all babies. When a small baby is there, if you have seen this, you can see this film anywhere. I don't know, you'll get it in YouTube and all. Where the parent look at the baby and they do this. Poo! Ha! And then poo! Ha! And when the parent covers the eyes, the child is like, doesn't know what to expect. And when he opens eyes, he says, ha! The child laughs. Reacting to the society in whatever the society does, exactly like a child. This is an extroverted attitude. Now, being extroverted in the world, it becomes so much that we hardly remember what is anything else other than that, because our mind is never quietened. We don't know what quiet is. Most of us, if not all, we have no idea what quietness is. So we need that noise every time. Once upon a time, there was a man who was staying in the vicinity of the temple. So a temple was there, there was a tree. He used to sleep under the tree and eat whatever the temple prasad was for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and he used to stay there and sing kirtans, bhajans and all, for his own sake, not for public sake. He was singing on his own, and people used to come and just listen, enjoy the little bit of bhajans, enjoy a little bit of talk, and then they'll go. He used to stay. One day, a trustee came, and these trustees, they have made the temple, they have made the courtyard, they have made everything. He comes and he sees this person lying there under a tree. So he says, who is this? So the Pujari says, Maharaj is just one of the common guys, and he is staying here only. He says, he is staying here? How can he stay here? This is not an anath ashram. Anybody can come. It's not a dharmshala. Anybody can come and stay. No, this is not there. This is the temple. People have to come, take the darshan of the God and go. You can't stay. Otherwise, it will start this particular thing where everybody will come and stay. You remove him. Tell him that he should not stay here. The Pandit said, you only do it, sir. Your authority. If you can do it, nothing like it. He said, okay. And then by the time this man was awake, and he was sitting under a tree, closing his eyes. So the Seth came and said, hey, listen, you. So he just looked and said, sit down. So the Seth sat down, because he said this person was in prayer. He sat down. Then after a little while, perhaps a minute, the Seth said, listen, you know who I am? The Seth said, okay, let him complete his prayer and then I can drive him out. And the Seth sat there and he looked at his watch every time. 3 minutes, 4 minutes happened, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. The Pujari had told him that this man has been living for 7 years in the temple vicinity. After 7 minutes, the Seth just got up, touched that man's feet and walked away. The Pujari asked him, what happened, sir? Did you have a talk with him? Is he going to be there tomorrow? The Seth looked at him and says, he is a saint. Let him be. He says, sir, how did you know in this such a short span of 5, 6 minutes and 7 minutes that he is a saint? He says, because he just told me to sit. And I exactly looked at the time. I sat for 7 minutes. And in 7 minutes, there were so many thoughts in my head, so many things happening. I could not sit in one place for 7 minutes. This person has been sitting here for 7 years. It has to be a saint. That doesn't mean you start sitting and saying that I will not do anything. Thank you, sir. You had given me this opportunity. Abhi main baithunga. Kya kar raha hu? Kuch nahi kar raha hu. That doesn't mean anything. Okay. The whole idea is internally you are extremely peaceful by nature, and externally you are being very dynamic. Whatever that dynamism is, either dynamic in action, either dynamic in emotion, or dynamism in thoughts. So you should be understanding where you are. So this is an extroverted tendency where you are doing out everything in the world. Your mind is going out and interacting. So the only way to turn away from this extrovertedness is a process called slowing down one's own patterns. You have to slow down. Nobody else can slow down. One person, one of my friends, he was standing in the Juhu beach. I was with him, and he was ready. He wore his swimming trunk and all. He was about to swim. So I said, okay, go. You know swimming. Get into it and just have fun and come back. He said, I am waiting for the wave to come down a little. When the ocean is completely clean, without any waves, that time I will go. Chances are he must still be waiting. Nothing is going to be same. It's never going to come that everything is quite. So many people have asked this. When do we start the Bhagavad Gita classes, sir? When do we get into spirituality? Thoda time ke baad. Once everything gets settled now, sir, then I'll be free to do what? Learn the Shastras. For what? For living in the world. So you want everything to be peaceful, everything to die down, to learn how to live in the world. Isn't this an irony? Who has created the whole momentum? There is this long time back in Mumbai, there was this place called SL World. I'm putting the clock around 30 years. I don't know, they're still operating. There, they had a sort of a cycle, a big ring, round ring, a broad ring, maybe 2 feet or 1.5 feet of size, and that ring was there. And it was just running on a particular thing. So it was not running, it was not moving. You have to step inside and start walking. So when you step inside and start walking, the ring would move. And then it moves so easily because you are walking. Then you start running, jogging, tak, 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 and the ring will gain momentum. It's beautiful. It's a very nice experience. You know that you are creating the momentum. So you are running. Now you run. Everybody looks and they say, clap. Wow, wow, look at how fast the ring is moving. How fast he is running, he or she. And then now you are getting tired. Now when we get tired, what do? We can't stop with a jerk. We'll fall down. There's nothing to support you. We can't keep on running because we get tired. So what do? How do we stop it? Slow it down. The same running becomes a jog. That jog becomes fast walking. That fast walking becomes a slow walking, and then it comes to a standstill. Extroverted tendencies completely depending on the world for one's needs of materiality and sensuality has never made anybody happy in life. So the second stop is what? Get introverted. Once you understand that, slow down. Here, not activity, here. Why am I thinking about things which is beyond my control? So as soon as you start relinquishing things which are beyond your control, what is beyond my control? Okay, let us see. The world is not in my control. When is the next COVID disease coming? It's not in my control. When does the government say that next vaccine, next booster, next this, next that? It's not in my control. The weather certainly is not my control. Everything around, I don't think it's my control. I can't even control the behavior of my near end. See, I am married, and I am married for the past 50 years. I have got children. I have got 3 children, 1 daughter, 2 sons, or vice versa. And I can't control anybody. I can't say I control them. I may suggest certain things, they may listen, 10% of it, 90% they reject, up to them, sir. I can't control. Can't control anybody around. I can't control my own body. My body suddenly a position in one sleep, my head pains, my shoulder pains, my back pains, my leg pains, my knees pain, my calf muscles pain, anything comes up paining. It's not completely in my control. Body is not in your control. Mind, I can't say it's in my control, because whenever I sit to study, sir, I can't focus. The mind goes here and there. Even now when I am attending the lecture, I am pretty sure most of you, if not all, may not be able to focus the continuous 1 hour what we are doing, because the tendency of the mind is to go anywhere. So the mind goes here and there to this relation, this event, this disturbance, that disturbance, keeps on going. So certainly my mind is not in control. Good. My intellect, the thoughts, सवाल ही नहीं है sir, impossible. The thoughts are running everywhere, not in my control. अच्छा. Sorry, come back again to the question. So what is in your control? Nothing, sir. Nothing. No, there is one thing. One thing is in your control. नहीं लगता है sir, I don't know. What is in my control? Your effort. What is in your control is your effort every time to be a better version of yourself than what you were yesterday. That effort is yours. It's not anybody else's. It doesn't belong to the world. This is introversion. And when you become introvert in life, you start seeing everything from the studies point of view. Okay, so I am this divinity, this self. I don't know. So they say in Bhagavad Gita, it is written, Prahuhu, so have they declared. Who am I to question them? Whether there is self, whether there is not self. No. Let us assume, when somebody says this is a dot, this is a line, let this be X, we assume, it's all assumption. So we say, okay, why should Einstein try? Why should Newton say that the law of gravity falls from a higher plane to a lower plane at 32 feet per second per second? I take it that this person must have studied it when the apple fell down and he would have understood. Therefore, this is the law, and you verified it there. Similarly, our sages and saints have given certain laws. You verify it and live it. Don't say no. Listen to it. So they say, Prahuhu, I am the self. Yes, okay. Now look at my own life. You put yourself under a microscope. Each one of us goes through the 3 states of consciousness, and that's what you're doing. So what I'm going to do now is the 3 verses given to you. We are going to do all the 4 together. I'm just going to read all the 4 verses and then sit and explain those verses. Okay, then we are not going to refer to the book because we don't need to. I'll explain it to you. So first we did, what are the 3 states of consciousness? The 3 states of consciousness are waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. These are the 3 states. Sir, there are any 4th state, 5th state? No, there is no other state that we know of. We know the 3 states. Yes, he is defined. What is the waking state? So I'll just read this to you. The waking state, Jagrat Avastha Kaha. We have done this last time. What is the waking state? That state where the sense organs of perception like ears, eyes, nose, etc. perceive the sense objects like sound, form, color, etc. is called the waking state. The self identifying with the gross body is called Vishwa. Just take it. The dream state, Swapna Avastha Keti. If asked, if somebody is asking you, why if asked? Because hardly anybody asks. I'll come to that. If asked what is the dream state, it is a world projected in sleep, made of impressions of what has been seen or heard in the waking state. The self identifying with the subtle body is called Taijasa. It's called Taijasa. Its name is given Taijasa. The deep sleep state, Atha Sushupta Avasthaka. What is Sushupta? Then, what is deep sleep state? That state where I experienced nothing and I happily slept is the deep sleep state. The self identifying with the causal body is called prajna. It's as simple as that. Okay. Now we'll get into the merits and demerits of all the three states. This is not in the books. So don't think from the point of view, it is written in the book, so it must be all right. No. It is happening to us every day. Spirituality, like Ram Tirtha says, is not in the books. In the books, whether it is Tattva Bodha, whether it is Sadhana Panchakam, whether it is the Vedanta treatise, whether it is Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads, these books act as a trigger for us to find out, why am I agitated? What is the cause of my agitation or stress point or tension or depression or nervous breakdown, whatever it is? What is the cause of it? When you start analyzing, we start finding out that my identification has slipped. My needle of identification has slipped from impersonal to personal. I started taking everything based on my egocentric aspects of life and its desires. Since the identification with the ego is complete, I go through these states of consciousness. What are the three states? Each one goes through this. When we get up in the morning, whatever time we get, we're supposed to get up at 4:30, but whatever time you're getting up, you rub your eyes, you look around, stretch, go and brush your teeth, and then many people come into what we call the waking world. We have a morning cup of tea or coffee or biscuit or Bonvita or whatever it is, juices perhaps. We have our newspapers in our hand, or we have TV. To TV to hai hai. Everybody's got that asura in the house. So the TV is on. And we are exposed to the world. I am awake and I experience what we call the waking state of consciousness. I am awake now. When I am awake, I am interacting with the world. Every aspect of the world, wherever I look, looks extremely real. All my relationships, all my education, all my qualification, all the aspects which really means to me as an individual is existing in this particular state called the waking state. This is what everybody goes through, wake up. Then after a particular while, maybe after 11 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, whatever it is, 12 hours perhaps, we get into another world which is called the dream state of consciousness. In this dream state of consciousness, there also I experience certain things. But the experiences are not real. It is really not real. It's very fluid. It's very liquid in content. So in the waking state, if I have to travel from point A to point B, I take a certain amount of time in flight from here to US or from here to Canada or wherever. I take a certain amount of time. Time, space and cause and effect relationship is very, very grounded in the waking state. It looks real. It's formed beautifully. But in the dream state, time is a little liquid. So if I say, okay, you dream today and in the dream you go to the moon. Yeah, done. I already went to the moon and came back. So fast, yes. Hardly any concept of time, hardly any concept of space, hardly any time for causation. Time, space, and causation is what makes the world. Time runs infinite, we'll do that eventually. So, all the three aspects run, and that's what makes the world. So, the more the consolidation of time, space, and causation is, the more the world is real. So, in the dream, it is not real. In the dream, I can do anything. If a villain comes before me, I need to get angry at that. I close my eyes in the dream, and then I become Spider-Man or Superman or Wonder Woman, depending on who I am, and then fight with the evil. And I got all the powers in the dream to fight the demon in the dream. Have it. Both are quite similar. When a person is dreaming, dreamer, the person who is dreaming and the dream world both simultaneously coexist. Has it ever happened to you that you are dreaming and the dreamer is absent and only the dream world is present? Has it ever happened to you that the dream world is completely absent but the dreamer is present? No. Both the dreamer and the dream world simultaneously coexist. Got this? Same way, both the waker and the waking world simultaneously coexist. It has never happened that I open my eyes and the world is not there. Never happened. It has never happened that the world is there but I am not there. Both simultaneously coexist. So in the Granthas, in the scriptures, more or less it is said that the waking state and the dream state both are quite similar, because both adhere to a different definition of what reality is. And only when I am not dreaming and come out of the dream state into the waking state can I say that this dream was useless here. The dream world becomes useless. I am dreaming something but it doesn't make any sense in the waking state, but in the dream it looks very real. A person in the waking world, waking state looks very real. All the relationships look very real. Every knowledge and ignorance, whatever you have, is very real. But once you fold the waking state and go into the dream state, then the waking world is no more there. The dream world is real. Are you getting me? Both of them have the concept of reality only when you are existing in that state. But as soon as you get out of that state, the reality disappears. This is where the famous question of King Janaka. King Janaka was sleeping peacefully. Don't sleep, okay? I am acting. He slept peacefully and he got up. He called a meeting of all the people. Come. Everybody came. He said, I experienced something. I want to ask you people. Say, yes, yes, yes. What is it? What is it? I yesterday night dreamt that I am a beggar. By the side, remember, in one of the our corner there is this temple where there are a lot of flower people. They are making flowers and all those things to give it to God. In that marketplace, I am standing there. I don't have anything on top. I am wearing a dhoti down. And I am hurt, bleeding everywhere. And I am begging for food or money to passerbys who are going into the temple. It was not a very good life. I was in penury. And I had my wife and 2 children, and they were also begging in a different corner. Sad. Today morning I got up and I am in my royal bed with the Queen and my children happily sleeping in the other room, enjoying, full of love. The children coming, hug me, the Queen came, and everything was beautiful. It looked very real. My question to all of you, says Janaka to the courtiers, am I the king who dreamt that he was a beggar begging near the temple vicinity, or am I that beggar who is now dreaming as if he is the king? Did you even understand the question? Am I that king who dreamt that he was a beggar, or am I that beggar who is now dreaming as the king? Nobody could answer this question. Not a single person could answer this question. Nobody could. He just sat there. Then the mighty Guru Ashtavakra came, and Ashtavakra told him, my dear king, you are neither the waker, King Janaka, you are neither the beggar, the dreamer. When that supreme power, when that supreme personality, the divinity, the self, the attitude of the consciousness, pure consciousness, functions through the physical body. So the chart is what? Chart is, there is self on top written. Self plus causal body plus subtle body. You know, we have already done that, so don't tell me we are not done. Causal body is the vasanas, plus the subtle body, mind and intellect, plus the gross body is the waking state of consciousness. And it's temporary. But I am not that. Who am I? Who is this person speaking? I am so and so in this physical body, in this name and form, with my wife, with my children, with my father, with my mother, with my house, with this city, with my country. All these things are there. Different modifications and different explanations given for the existence of this personality. One simple answer would suffice. At present, listen to this carefully, word to word. Who are you? At present, I am a waker, experiencing the waking world of consciousness. At present, I am the waker, experiencing the waking world of consciousness. Very soon, I will leave this state and get into the succeeding state called the dream state, where once I be in that state, I will declare, at present, I am a dreamer experiencing the dream state of consciousness. Got it? Everybody dreams. Science has proven that everybody dreams. We may not remember the dream, but people dream. Even dogs dream. There are even exercises where the dogs can dream. They can see that the dog is dreaming because it starts moving on. There is one more state. Deep sleep. The connection between the waking and dream is completely different. So a waker is completely a different personality. The dreamer is completely different personality, because the world what they are interacting is very different. I am sleeping. I sleep. Then I get up. I start practicing my run. Because after 6 months, Olympics are there. And I've been practicing for that. So I'm running, I'm practicing every day, heart, sweat and tears and blood. I'm chosen for athletics or some game in the Olympics. The Olympics come, I am playing tennis or badminton or whatever is the game. I have started defeating all these great seeded personalities, great players of that particular sport. Finals are going to approach. And final, I am fighting with number one in that game. Whether it is tennis or badminton or athletics, number one. I fight tooth and nail for it. I give up my all and more. I win. I fall down the ground, sit like this and just all the work done for X amount of years. Here I am going to win the gold medal for my country. For this country, it's a big thing. Other country keep on winning a lot of gold, but for this country, one gold is huge. So I'm going to win gold. Yeah, I got it actually. There is the prize ceremony. Everybody has come. The bronze person has come. He shakes my hand. Congratulations. The silver person and the gold. I am standing there on that podium. I stand there. Our national flag is fluttering in the breeze higher than anybody else. I am singing my national anthem. The president of that organization comes with a gold medal and is about to put that medal in my neck. Suddenly I get a hit and I wake up. The lady of the house, the mother or the wife, they wake me up and says, "Get up, chalo. You have to start your classes. The classes are going to start." I'm sleeping. "Get up, come on." So this lady has no inclination of time. Then I tell the wife, "Listen, 2 minutes you could have not woken me afterwards. Just 2 minutes. National anthem was already playing. The president of that association came with a gold medal in 2 seconds. If you could have waited, I would have taken that gold medal and my dream would have been accomplished." A wife, the intelligent lady, says, "Okay, sleep for 2 minutes more. Go and get the gold medal." And this man also foolishly says, "Okay, I am sleeping now. Please don't disturb me. 2 minutes, not 2 minutes." And then you sleep again. Now, you are already woken up. But you are trying to imagine that you are sleeping. So, as a waker, you are entering or trying to imagine the dream. Now, you are imagining the same scenario, same people. You are standing there in the podium, the person has put the gold medal and the whole country is cheering. And you are standing there. Where? In the dream world, in the arena of the Olympics as a waker. How important would be all that to you? Whatever you achieved in the dream, what can you bring from the dream to the next state, waking state of consciousness? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But it is important there in the dream. As soon as you come out, it's out. So we go through the waking state of consciousness, everything looks real, real and real. Then we move from there to the deep dream state of consciousness. There also things look real. And dream state, from where did the dream state come? It's written, Shankaracharya has written, it comes from the waking state of consciousness. I'll explain to you. When I am not awake, when I am not dreaming, I also go through the third state of consciousness. This is everybody's experience, not my experience. Everybody experiences this. So once you start experiencing this and start studying and analyzing this, we will come to know where we are. As far as spiritual parlance goes, we will know what kind of an individual we are. How deep are our roots dug in. The third state of consciousness is called the deep sleep state of consciousness. Basically useless concept. Why? Deep sleep, we don't experience anything. Sir, we are just sleeping. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. Deep sleep where nothing exists. Coronavirus doesn't exist. Vaccines doesn't exist. Any diseases doesn't exist. What about my children? No, they are also not existing. Wife? Can I say it? Yeah. They don't exist. Don't tell her. They don't exist. Husband? Don't tell him. They don't exist. Parents? No. The world? No. Me? No. I don't exist. Relationships don't exist. Nothing in the world exists, and that which makes the world, time, space and causation doesn't exist. Because when you sleep so beautifully and somebody wakes up, they say, why did you wake me up so fast? You have been sleeping for 2 hours. 2 hours? I thought I just slept for 5 minutes. Everybody has experienced this in their life. Everyone. Each and every human being has experienced this. Just slept now. It's half an hour over. Deep sleep. Sleep of ignorance of the world. Extremely peaceful. Why? I am not there. Since I am not there, the world is not there. Since there is no I interacting with the said world, I am most happy. Most happy. When I move to the dream state, I exist. Physical body does not exist, but my mind and intellect, yes, it exists. And because my mind and intellect exists, the world also exists to that level. So in the dream also, I can get agitated that much. I get frightened in the dream. When the subtle body and the causal body as well as the gross body, through the gross body, function in the world, when the gross body is also woken up with 5 sense organs of perceptions and action, physical body has come, I experience the waking world. All my data, whatever is happening in my life is based on the waking state of experience. Each and every scientist, each and every philosopher, whatever they are trying to give diseases to my physical personality, if it goes down and out, is based on the waking state of consciousness. So what's happening? I am having trouble in the waking state to deal with certain things, and I am being provided answers to that trouble, reference only from the waking state of consciousness. This is where we go wrong. We are not only this waking state of consciousness, we are all the 3 states of consciousness: waking, dream and deep sleep. How are they connected? I don't know. Nobody knows. But they are connected. Does the waking state come from the dream and dream from the deep sleep, or does the deep sleep come from the waking? Nobody knows. All the 3 are an integrated personality. It is said by Shankaracharya that When I dream, thoughts of the undigested thoughts in the waking state is what makes my dream. That's what is the line. Remember, what is the line? Dream state. It is the world projected in sleep, made of impressions of what has been seen or heard in the waking state. Yes. Another beautiful example in the Shastras is about the sun high up in the sky, and the sun is the ultimate sannyasi. He is the ultimate rishi. Why? You can predict when there is a sunrise. Even before the sun rises, in the newspapers and channels, they actually show 6:24 today's sunrise. And when it is set 6:24, it doesn't come 6:27. It doesn't come 6:20. It comes at 6:24, right on the dot. Swami Ram Tirtha puts it, is the greatest sannyasi of the world is the sun. Why? When the sun comes, life begins. The sun has nothing to do with life, but the presence of the sun, life begins. It comes at the highest level. It lights up the streets. One street, there is a marriage procession going on. They have been waiting for the sunrise, for the day to start, the celebration to start. And the sun gives all its light towards that street. On the other side, it is also giving light to another street where there is somebody dead, and the whole family is waiting for the morning to take that dead body, dead person, to the cremation ground, and everybody is shouting Ram Naam Satya Hai, Ram Naam, and they are taking the dead body towards the cremation ground. Both of them need the sunlight to start, but the sun has nothing to do with either of the activities. Similarly, if you are spiritual, you will do everything that needs to be done in the world for the betterment of the society, but there won't be any attitude in the sun saying, I am the one giving light. Ego is completely absent. Therefore, Ram Tirtha puts it, says he is the best sannyasi. Right on time, consistency of purpose, full concentration, everything given, yet there is not a single time it says, I am doing this. It's the best example been given I have heard. Sun, with all its glory, is shining on the top of the mountains of the Himalayas. This is his example. You don't see anything, only ice. At that level, there are no animals, there are no birds at that level, there is no vegetation in that level. It's just snow-clad mountains. Don't see anything, just the sun and the snow. And it is these snow, it is these mountains, it is these glaciers that hide the most potent rivers of our country. The snow starts melting slowly because of the sun, and the snow becomes little rivulets, little streams juggling around, coming down from the mountains. Now, by the side of the streams, vegetation has come, insects have come, small worms have come, beautiful flowers, trees and shrubs have come. It's become very beautiful. It is moving on very nicely, subtly. So the first condition where there was nothing, it looked like there is nothing, is compared to the deep sleep state of consciousness. When the self functions through the deep sleep state of consciousness, it is called the causal body. Simple. When it focuses through the deep sleep and the dreamer, then the small rivulets flow, small stream flow. It's a beautiful life. It's fickle, it's nice, it's temporary. That is the dream world. And then the same water, when it comes down gushing, there is a mighty river, muddy, dirty, but dynamic in its operation. All the trade happens in those waters. That represents the waking state of consciousness. All the three are connected. Every aspect of your personality is connected. Every aspect of your body, mind and intellect in the waking state is also connected. So whenever the body goes down, don't only treat the physical body. Many people keep on eating tablets, only focusing on the physical. It is not the only personality. It's an integrated personality. So as soon as you understand that I am going through these three states of consciousness, then you have to analyze all the three. It is this deep sleep state which looks completely ignorant is what has what we call vasanas. So the self functioning through these vasanas becomes the causal body, which is called the deep sleep states of consciousness. The self functioning through the vasanas, through the mind and intellect, becomes the subtle body, which is called the dreamer, dreaming state of consciousness. An ultimate manifestation is that self, that supreme power, functioning through the vasanas, through the mind and intellect, subtle body, and through this gross dabba of the personality, the physical body, becomes the waking state of consciousness. Waking state of consciousness is the becoming. Dream state of consciousness is the becoming. Deep sleep state of consciousness is the becoming. What is important is that sun which shines high above these three personalities has nothing to do with the three personalities. But without that sun, no activity can take place. So as a human being, it is said that we are a combination of spirit and matter as a human being. And the matter is waking state of consciousness, dream state of consciousness, deep sleep state of consciousness. And in the waker, there is body, mind, intellect, vasanas, sanchita, prarabdha, all the contents are given. The knowledge in the waking state can disrupt all the vasanas. Waking state is what creates the dream and the deep sleep. Why this theory is given is very, very important for you to understand. Many people talk about unconscious mind, subconscious mind, semi-conscious mind. What is happening in the dream? What is happening in the deep sleep? So basically there are a lot of studies, theories which are coming up which say we tamper into the unconscious, because it is what the unconscious is that is made your conscious mind. Whatever is the deep sleep, vasanas is what you are. True? Yes. Whatever is my vasanas, that I am. Agreed. Who makes the vasanas? Who made the vasana? I don't know. I just was born with these vasanas. When you don't know who made vasanas or from where the vasanas are coming, where the seed personality is coming, how can you rectify anything? You don't even know the source. How can you know? You can't know. You need to know the source from where something is coming to rectify something, isn't it? So where is the source? Shankara says the source is your waking state. Now listen to this carefully. All the conditions of the mind, all the semi-conscious, unconscious, alpha, beta, gamma, all those theories of my unconscious mind is completely based on what do I do with my conscious mind. So, it is my conscious mind, what I am acting now, which is creating or pulling into the unconscious. So, whatever my vasanas are, I am not a victim of those vasanas. Whatever the vasanas are, I as a waker in the waking state of consciousness have created those vasanas. Now see the beauty. Therefore, Shankara says it comes from the waking state. Since whatever I, this individuality, has created in the waking state and all that is getting adjusted or collected in the deep sleep state as vasanas, I, rather than being chosen to be a victim of dekho na aisa ho gaya, because everything is made by my vasanas. I open my eyes, I see the world, it is my vasanas. It is my desires. This is what I want to do. In an instant, I can switch off this and say, okay, lecture out. Tomorrow, next class we'll do. It's in my hands completely. Or to extend the lecture by 10 minutes, again it is in my hand. For you also the same, you can switch it off anytime. You are in complete control in the waking state of consciousness. Remember this. So whatever consciously I am doing, all those thoughts are there accumulated as vasanas. Therefore, I put it to you that the ultimate level of control is with me to how to control or eradicate my own vasanas. Since I am making that effort to build in more vasanas, therefore the accumulated vasanas are so much and it's troubling me. Similarly, if I understand the nature of vasanas and everything comes down to the waking state of consciousness, my studies come down to the waking state, you put so much effort in the waking state that everything changes. Your thought pattern changes, your mentality, your mind changes. It doesn't function anymore on likes and dislikes. It starts functioning on what is the right thing to be done. Your physical body will also go through that change. Your whole personality, the integrated personality. Therefore, the whole house of all the three states of consciousness of waking, dream and deep sleep, the key and the lock is the waking state. You can rectify everything that is happening in the dream and the deep sleep with the vasanas, with the mind and intellect, by acting in the world in a conscious level. Therefore, the great masters have said, it is your conscious efforts that are seeping into the unconscious. And now it has become a big pond. Remember, it is never the unconsciousness that has made the conscious. As soon as you make that theory that there is unconscious 98%, conscious mind is only 2%, therefore that is powerful. You need to immediately start questioning what made the unconscious. Because it cannot be an unknown factor, remember. It can't be something in the sky saying I made it. There has to be something which makes the unconscious, and what made it is my conscious effort. Therefore, every day put your conscious effort in the state with which you know, the waking state of consciousness. Do everything possible, and slowly the whole thing will start seeping into your vasanas. Your vasanas change, your dream state, your whole personality identification changes, And with this knowledge, you start understanding that I am that supreme self. Nothing more, nothing less. I am divinity. And when that divinity chooses to wear the clothes, working clothes of the day, it becomes a waker. It becomes a waker, dealing with the waking world. When that divine personality, divinity, chooses to wear something else, maybe a night dress, and goes to sleep, it becomes a dreamer. And it becomes nothing when it goes through deep sleep. It functions in all the three levels. So whatever you see around here is temporary. Enjoy the temporariness, be everything, but understand this is not your identity. I am at present a waker, enjoying the waking world in the waking world of consciousness. When I am a waker, the waker and the waking world both come simultaneously together. When both come simultaneously together, I can never say that it is the waker that creates the waking world, since they are simultaneously coming up. Just as when I am dreaming, I can never say the dreamer created the dream world. Just as the dreamer and the dream world are created by the waker's mind, similarly the waker and the waking world is also created by something else. To find out is a state of becoming. This study of waking, dream and deep sleep, you study, don't ask any questions. Try to understand it. Keep it with you for 1 week, and subsequent week ask me the question. Keep it with you. Try to analyze your own life, and once these three things, all the Upanishads talk about this, these three things, one, it's become established in your head, you will really be able to attune to something higher than what you see and feel. Reflect on this lecture. It's a very important lecture. Waking, dream and deep sleep. Please try to understand it, because it's one of the greatest principles of Vedanta. Don't confuse yourself. Look at your own life and you'll start understanding better about what kind of identification we have with the so-called world. Thank you very much. Oh.